Charl is a handsome and rich dentist with a cheerful and sociable personality. It must be said that he is a very perfect type in the eyes of women, making them rush to him like a moth to a flame, and ready to give him the golden throne. But I'm sure Ly will never be able to have a long-lasting love relationships. Whenever she sleeps with someone one night, that person suddenly gets up and breaks up and gets married, as if she possessed. So one day he was invited to his ex-lover wedding. As soon as he showed up, he was noticed by many young girls. They exchanged something very shady with each other and then smiled at Charl a hidden way, like tonight. Do you want to explore my broken oven? I also noticed something unusual, but I just thought it must be because I'm handsome and big. At that moment, a beautiful girl walked in. She was so captivated at first sight, but she seemed quite clumsy. Sometimes she bumped into the waiter, spilling 2 chili sauce, and other collapsing the table, causing 2 of Charlie's balls to go cold. However, he was still very happy to chat with her and gave her his business card to come see her for a free dental checkup any day after the wedding. As soon as she returned to her office, he was surprised with the scene before our eyes. Inside are monsters with 3 nipples attacking their buttocks and defending them. Very sexy. Just the other day, only the revolutionary elders came to see the dentist. Why is it that today the customers waiting outside are all beautiful girls like this? Charlie felt very unusual, but he didn't know what it was. He went to the room to talk to his best friend Peter, but he was busy examining a girl's briefcase after work. Charlie was walking on the street when he discovered it. My ex-lover, who just broke up with me, was trying on wedding clothes. She ran out to show off. She was getting married and thanked him profusely as if she were blessed by an angel. So that night, Ly must have returned home with doubts about her human life. When he heard the text message from his desk phone, he was stunned to see that there were 14 girls who wanted to go on a date with him, and then he could do whatever he wanted with them. Maybe Ly randomly chose one girl to test to see if it worked. As soon as she picked her up, the beauty got into the car and immediately took the initiative to strip and prepare for the act. Such enthusiasm must have been the first time we met. He was dumbfounded and surprised and asked why she was in such a hurry. The last beauty finally telling the truth. She heard word of mouth from women saying that if they only had to do it with Ly once, the next day they would find the true love of thief life. He seemed very sincere. So Ly must have left it to fate. If people have their hearts, then I have them too. Yes, you can do whatever you want. I won't stop you. But right at the critical moment, Charlie's phone rang. Turns out it was Ly. The girl he was captivated by at his ex-lover wedding. She had a small accident while feeding the birds and lost everything, so she wanted Charlie to fix it for her. If left like this, she will become entertainment for the whole world. I immediately say goodbye to the damaged furnace next to her and have a meeting to find out right this evening. He quickly accelerated and drove straight to the office after fixing Lisa's teeth. He wanted to invite her to a meal, drink, and have a nice chat. But the beauty refused him without thinking. Not because she didn't like it, probably Ly, but anyone who goes on a date with her will have a pretty unlucky outcome. As soon as he finished speaking, our male lead immediately ate 2 pecks on his back. However, when the American love of love is attached to him, it makes sense. Wouldn't even exist anymore. He thought it was just an unexpected situation, so he didn't care much. He even said that even though he was eating with her, he got stabbed deeper with a steak knife. He still accepted. Who would have thought? Ly didn't just have normal bad luck, but bad luck all over her car. Ben was evil, so he asked Ly to charge it for him. As soon as he put his hand in and plugged in, the beauty stepped on the gas pedal and shocked him until the power came on. I forgot her keys in the car, so the guy took her home to get them on the way out of curiosity. So she mistakenly pressed the button to open the hood of the car, and the roof of the car flew away. Tens of thousands of dollars were Charlie back home. Even calmly took the rock and broke the glass to get the key, causing the male lead to be speechless. Perhaps all the bad luck affected the person next to her. That why she's still alive and grinning until now. But Charlie bad luck hasn't happened yet. Afterwards, he returned home and saw his 100-pound assistant waiting. Turns out she had read Charlie information online and wanted to ask him to do it so he could find true love. On this trip, the nightie will definitely be able to revive his mentality. The next morning, Charlie will talk to his close friends about his strange stories. Peter advises the male lead, enjoy this magical thing. Enjoy it. Girls proactively come to me because isn't that a good thing? After hearing what my best friend said, I'm sure he will be convinced. So started the journey of helping girl find their other half. Life is like that. His office has hundreds of 3-headed monsters coming to register to participate in the program every day. At first, the male lead felt proud because he had helped so many people, but later on, Charlie felt feeling depressed. Women keep coming and going like a passing breeze, all of whom see him as a tool to help them find happiness without any feelings at all. Even if we consider it in the long run, his nightingale is in danger of dying suddenly at any time. So Ly probably doesn't want to continue his career in baking potatoes anymore. But will the male lead have to live a lonely life until he dies. Suddenly remembering the girl who flatly refused his dinner information, he walked over to where Charlie worked and tried to invite her out again. Seeing his sincerity, finally, she relented and agreed again. The first two people went on a date. They invited each other to eat, drink, walk, and talk so much that they stuck their heads into a pillar on the side of the road. Suddenly the pillar appeared, not because I wasn't looking at the road. Suddenly the pillar appeared, not because I wasn't looking at the road. There were a few mistakes, but overall the date was quite perfect. Then the two each other home to play puzzles right at the time when the Soviet Union was fighting the US and the situation in Cuba was very tense. Charlie phone rang and it turned out the caller was a guy. Peter best friend told Charlie that he had called all his ex-girlfriends and girls who had slept with the male lead, and they all confirmed that they had. Called all his ex-girlfriends and the girls who had slept with the male lead, and they all confirmed that they had gotten married to their next boyfriend after the breakup. Maybe that it. The rumors about the guy's magical abilities were completely true. After hearing that, Charlie immediately felt worried because after doing that with her, she would leave him, so he could only swallow his saliva. Hello. I said goodbye to her in utter disappointment while I was dumbfounded thinking that I was doomed, abandoned, and returned home. The male lead was promised to be informed by his best friend if after doing it with a woman she didn't. If he finds his next life partner, Charlie will probably escape the curse and be able to be with Liza normally. After hearing this, he was immediately happy and started searching for the woman that every man would ignore, running away. It was a young girl weighing 299 kilograms with this body. If she couldn't be crushed to death, she would have broken a few ribs, but because of the love of her life, she had to grit her teeth and accept to sell her life cheap. My brother had to drink several liters of apple wine to have the courage to go to bed with her, also to confirm whether the rumor was true or false. The next morning, he said that the fat girl had rejected his proposal. When he heard this, he immediately became excited. He immediately rushed straight into Liza's house. The two of them finally had a terrifying battle that shook the whole night from the bed to the ground. The next morning, Charlie was still not satisfied when suddenly he was dumbfounded. On TV, there was news that the 299 kilograms girl had agreed to marry a normal man, so her best friend had tricked Peter into not dating the other girl. She certainly never proposed marriage. She thought coming here would be like sitting on a pile of durians, so he slept with Leah. Last night, this meant that she would leave and find her next partner. I'm sure Charlie has fever and wants to keep the person he really loves, but what should he do now? The elders always say that love will make us lose our minds, and this is completely true. Doing all kinds of surprises for Leah, from preparing a super sumptuous breakfast to sending thousands of gifts to her office, seemed exciting at first, but later on, she felt even more suffocated, and she didn't understand why. Charlie, I used to be a handsome and funyan, but now he has turned into a rude person who doesn't let his lover have any private space. Ly finally couldn't stand it anymore, so he said goodbye to her. Ly failed and sat there like a dog, watching the pond in the rain. What can love do for a life of suffering and sadness? Suddenly, a beer barrel rolled towards him and it spun around for a while. Then he stopped and pointed in the direction. The mysterious-looking girl. Charlie suddenly remembered her old friend who had threatened her. It was possible that the whole thing was caused by her, and she was probably a nightingale that hadn't fully grown its wings yet. Charlie was madly in love with a little girl, the little witch Anis, because the love failed, now cured the male lead. As long as he has feelings for someone and sleeps with them, that person will immediately break up with him. Came to another man. Charlie, I immediately went to the house to find the little witch Anisha, begging her to help him break that curse. Who would have thought that Anisha would say it herself? That year, she was still too young and basically didn't understand anything about love, so that curse was just a joke to scare the male lead. Could it be that he really possesses such crazy superpowers? Because there was no way to solve this problem, he started falling into despair. He suddenly realized that loving someone means wanting to see that person happy. So he found out who she admired the most and helped her have the opportunity to date that person while he secretly watched from afar. Standing there watching them then walking away day afar day, Charlie seemed to be trying to get used to life without Ly by his side. One day, he heard the news that she was preparing to go alone to Antarctica and might stay there too. The male lead immediately rushed on the plane to tell her the whole truth. It was only because he was afraid of being abandoned by her that he did all those tricks, and he loved her more than he loved himself. The ring box inside was just a small stone, but it made Liza excitedly hug and kiss him passionately, because she understood that the person she truly loved was right in front of her. Charlie's sincerity made Anisha. I was so moved that I accepted to lift the curse for him, otherwise I wouldn't be able to reach the end of the movie. Ly and Liza live happily together in the cold Antarctica every day. They have to clean up the penguins and want to ignore the movie. This is end. Hello and see you again everyone.